So welcome to day one. I'm Leslie Everett. Have you ever thought that you don't make the best personal impact sometimes, perhaps in meetings or presentations? Or perhaps you're not appreciated for the strengths and the talents that you actually have. Or maybe you want to be a little bit more visible and have more exposure in the role that you're in order to reach career and business goals and even personal goals. Well, personal branding can really help you to do that. It will really help you to increase your executive presence and your personal impact. But the key thing is that it's about being authentic. It's no good us having a great image that makes us look good if we can't sustain it with the consistency and the congruency with who we really are. Many years ago when I first started in this business, it was really about having a great image. But that can be extremely superficial if just dealt with on its own. So what is important about personal branding is that we get to the core of what your authentic brand is and then look at how we can unleash that and package it and project it in a way that is consistent with who you really are. And I really believe that this is becoming absolutely critical in today's business environment. Whether you're in a corporate environment or whether you run your own business, you need a personal marketing plan more than ever. You need to think about your career more like an entrepreneur than ever. It's no longer good enough just to leave it to chance. We need to build our reputation more consciously than we ever have done before and be aware of the perceptions that people have of us. We need to have a visibility plan. So I want to plant in your mind right now the thoughts around, well, how visible am I? Do people really know who I am and what I do and what I'm great at? Or do other people have to describe me in a lot of detail for people to know who I am, what I do and what I'm great at? What I always say about a personal brand is that you all have a personal brand already, and this is whether you've consciously developed it or consciously thought about it or not. And that's quite simply because your personal brand is what people say about you behind your back. And that can be quite a scary thought. You know, what do people really say about you behind your back? It's something we don't think about enough. It's something we need to be more conscious of, because your personal brand is a collection of those powerful and clear ideas that people have about you when they think of you. It's the few words they choose to use to describe you when you're not there, when you leave the room. Think right now and challenge yourself to say, well, what do people really say about me? What are the words that people use to describe me? Because that's the fundamental starting point for our brand. We need to know who we are and what we want to project, and then we need to get the feedback so that we know how people do perceive us. And this program will take you through all the principles to give you the tools and the tips in order to be more in control of your personal brand. Now, I often use the analogy of a pearl in an oyster when I'm talking about personal branding. Bear with me on this one. Your personal brand is very similar to that pearl in an oyster because the pearl grows organically over a period of time as layers get added to it. It gradually evolves. Now, that's very similar to your personal brand because everything you do every day adds a layer. So that's everything from every first impression you make, every meeting you go to, every telephone conversation, every presentation, every interview, every message you leave on the phone, every email that you send. All of these things are adding a layer to your brand every day, and your brand reputation is gradually evolving. So again, challenge yourself now to think about how consistent you might be with every communication you have. We need to see ourselves as a product. If you think about product branding, we need to make sure that we get the right messages out on the product. About corporate branding, we need our audiences and our customers to feel something about that brand. And that's the same as a personal brand. And that's why we need to focus on what it is we want people to feel about us when we're not there. Now, I've got a simple process that I put in place and developed over the years that will help you to develop your personal brand. And it's all of these 4 phases that I'll be talking about in more detail as we go through the program. But very simply, the 4 phases are, first of all, discover your personal brand, because as I said, it's there already. We just need to delve in and unleash it. Then test it out. Do people see you the way you think people see you or how you want people to see you? What do your clients and customers and audiences say about you? What do they say it is that you do, what you're great at and what you do for them? And then we need to think about how we package that brand to make sure that with every communication we project those values consistently. And then it's about projecting the brand. And this is where your visibility plan comes in, your personal marketing plan that I'm going to take you through in much more detail in one of the future sessions on this program. So discover it, test it, package it and project it. Those are the 4 principles I want you to think about as you go into this program so that you can be more aware of what objectives you have with building your personal brand. I've developed 7 big strides to Walking Tall to encapsulate all of the key areas that I believe are important for unleashing and covering your personal brand, and then of course sustaining it and maintaining it. And these are based on the years of experiences and research in looking at what's really important for executives in business today. The very first one is about who you really are. That's the starting point. We can't build our personal brand unless we know what it is we want to project, the authentic core. The second big stride is around that valuable and powerful first impression. When we make a first impression, we first of all take in non-verbal communication and then the quality of the voice. And if we like what we see and how we hear it, then we'll hook into the content much more quickly. This is something I'll be spending a bit of time on in the next lesson because I don't think sometimes we appreciate how powerful and how important that first impression is. And then we have dress like you mean it. Whether you like it or not, people do judge you on how you're dressed. So challenge yourself now to think about your wardrobe. What's in there that doesn't really reflect your personal brand as you want it to? What gets in the way of your true qualities and abilities? The next big stride is around the silent indicators. I don't use the term body language very often. I think it's a little dated. We have to be careful about translating one gesture at a time. But if we have got that weak handshake, the lack of eye contact, bad posture, we may be giving an impression of ourselves that that we don't want others to see. It may be inaccurate, it may be incongruent with who we really are. The next big stride is around the quality of your voice, or speakeasy, as I call it. Have you ever phoned into your voicemail message to listen to how professional you sound, for example? It could be the first impression that people have of you and of your company and organisation or your team. The next big stride is around social skills and visibility. Being interested in other people will make you a more interesting person. It's all part of building your visibility and your personal marketing plan. And in this lesson, we're going to be spending a lot of time looking at how you build that visibility plan in line with your true goals and objectives. And then we bring that all together with consistency as the last big stride. For any brand to be successful, it needs to be consistent. That's whether it's a corporate brand, a product brand, or a personal brand. Think about how consistent you are with all the communication mechanisms you use every day. So I want you to think about all of those elements and really consider what your objectives and goals are for this personal branding course. What is it you want to achieve? What personal issues and challenges do you have? Where do you want to be in 5 years' time where personal branding can really help? I look forward to seeing you next time.